Hi, welcome back to another Tech Times exclusive. Today we're talking to Armin Bauer. He's the Managing Director, Technology and co-founder of IDNOW, which is one of Europe's leading companies in identity verification platforms. Armin, welcome to the Tech Times exclusive.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's our pleasure. So we'll jump right in. I think the most natural way to start is for you to just tell us about IDNOW.
Thank you. IDNOW is one of Europe's leading identity verification platforms. So we are providing services to identify users online to many industries. As an example, if you're opening a bank account today, you have to prove your identity to your bank. And we are providing that technology to make that whole process as seamless and user-friendly as possible. And we're not only doing that for banking, but to a wide range of industries. So anything from banking to insurance companies, mobility companies, so a really wide range of companies that require or that have the need to identify their users.
Okay, I see. So I think most people would probably want to know what was the motivation? Like, did something happen to you personally, or was it long lines or weeks waiting for applications? What motivated this technology?
Yeah. So it was really a personal experience that motivated me to found this company. I had to open a bank account myself, and here in Germany, it was only possible to do that in the post office. And it was winter, and I had to go there physically. And there was actually a huge line coming out of the post office and going around the corner. And I thought that this is not how this should be handled in the 21st century. And this really what started this process. And so we started thinking, how can this be done better nowadays using modern technologies? We applied for the patents on this. And then we founded the company and got started. And nowadays, the bank where I initially had the idea for IDNOW is actually one of our customers now. So today I would not have to go to the post office anymore, and I now could use our services to identify myself. So yeah, it's better now.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, seeing as the world right now, it's well, not necessarily right now, but for the past 20 years, but we're moving faster and faster and faster towards automation in pretty much every aspect. So where does IDNOW fit into the scheme of really pushing the automation world?
Absolutely, and so we are definitely seeing the same. Like I said, in the past, you physically had to go somewhere and to show your ID card or something like that. Then new methods appeared. For example, in Germany, we had video identification, so which is based on a video interview with one of our employees. And nowadays, of course, with the rise of artificial intelligence, you can really automate a lot of this process. And this is also what we have pushed. So we have our own machine learning team. So we are doing a lot in deep learning. And nowadays, the algorithms are actually so good that in many areas, they're performing already better than humans can. Just as an example, in face comparison, it was for a long time that humans were a lot better in comparing faces, but now the algorithms have really overtaken and are already a lot better than humans in making those face comparisons. And we see the same happening in a lot of areas. Another example is really analyzing documents for fraud to see, do I really have a real document? Are the security features on that document real? And the advances that have been done over the years in machine learning are quite spectacular, I would say. And this also has led to the regulators taking notice. And we see actually more and more countries approving of that technology, because we can show, yes, this technology works, it's more user-friendly, it's more secure, and this is the way forward.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Actually, I noticed that a lot of your customers or clients, maybe you would prefer to call them, are banks, or they're in the currency handling sector. Do you feel that your technology is revolutionizing an industry that's at least 600 years old?
Yeah. So, of course, I would not go so far to say we're revolutionizing the whole sector, but at least we are, I think, revolutionizing the process of onboarding and getting to know your customers. And yes, I do think that if you look at the state of identification nowadays to the past years, there have been tremendous improvements achieved in that area. So, and I think this will continue to improve. Like I said, so these new technologies will make that even better. And we are just now getting those new technologies approved by the regulators. And so they will come into the market and further improve those processes.
So yeah, you know, we see how beneficial this software is to banks and businesses and things. But what would you consider, or in your opinion, what are the biggest perks for just the average Joe, minus your personal experience? Like, is there any other way that this is really benefiting the just your everyday guy?
Absolutely. And like I said, in the past, you really were depending on opening times of banks, and you really had to fit your life to the schedules of the bank. And of course, I mean, who wants to do this nowadays? And with this new technology, you can now do this around the clock, every day in the week, whenever you feel is the best time of doing this. And also, you can do it from everywhere. So you can do it from work, you can do it from home, from the couch, so from anywhere it's possible now. And also the time needed is really a lot faster now. So in the past, just to give you a rough estimate, the time it took from opening a bank account to the bank account being usable was 16 days. Now we are down to minutes, so that you can really go online, you can open a bank account, and then really start using the bank account right away. And I think this will now further improve that with new technologies. The process of identifying yourself will get even easier, even faster, even more secure. And I think that is really benefiting everyone.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's exciting to think that, you know, before, I mean, I think like I said, 16 days, I think my most recent, I haven't opened a bank account in years. So I think it's like, you know, at least 3 to 4 business days. But now to know that it's just minutes, I mean, you know, we're honestly living in the future, present day. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So could you tell us about Autoident? I understand that was newly released. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it could be a tool against money laundering.
Yeah. So Autoident is our product that is based on artificial intelligence. So where we have trained algorithms over the years to really read out data from ID documents all over the world, to be able to correctly identify security features of those documents. So we ask the user to tilt the document. The machine learning algorithms are analyzing the holograms and the security features of the documents and are understanding, okay, is the algorithm seeing a real document or a fake document? Then we are doing biometrics. So we are doing a video selfie and comparing that against the document. And if everything is done correctly, then the process is finished, and you can start using your bank account or your insurance, or start using car sharing, so whatever service you would like to use. And the Autoident is really this automated product based on artificial intelligence that is enabling that.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's it's very exciting stuff. So let's dive in a little bit more to the techie side. And have you explained to me as well as our viewers what KYC and electronic signing solutions really are?
KYC, of course, short for know your customer, means that a lot of industries have the need to understand who they're doing business with. So if a bank is opening a bank account, there's a requirement for them to know who owns this bank account. And this requirement can come on the one side from the regulatory environment, so that there's simply laws that tell the bank that they need to do that, but also, of course, to ensure that no fraud is happening. And as you probably know, I mean, the number of cybersecurity attacks is ever increasing each year. And so it's, of course, becoming more and more important to have good technology to combat that. And so this is really what know your customer is about. So ensuring that you are doing business with the right and real user. And identification is one part of this know your customer journey. So of course, to know who you're doing business with, you have to ensure that you really are correctly identifying that person. Of course, there are then more building blocks coming. So there's in the banking sector a certain list that you have to check. You have to check credit worthiness and so on. But of course, the identification part is one of the most important building blocks in the know your customer strategy. And of course, this not only applies to banks, but really to a huge variety of industries, if you think about it. Just to make an example, if you're doing car sharing, the car sharing company lets you access their car, which is of course a quite valuable asset for them. And of course, they would probably prefer not to lose that car. And so they, of course, want to make sure, number one, who are they giving this car to? And number two, does this person actually have a real driver's license and a valid driver's license? And so there are a lot of examples of companies needing to ensure to know who they are doing business with. And this is the technology that we are providing, so to make this as seamless, as fast, and as secure as possible.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I would like to talk about IDNOW'S growth, and I understand that you recently made some acquisitions. Mm-hmm. If you could shed some light on that for us, that'd be awesome.
Of course, happy to do so. Yeah. I mean, what we have seen is that there's a really strong need for identification services. So we have grown quite strongly on ourselves, so organically. And I mean, the recent push for digitalization in a lot of industries, of course, is really driving that demand that we are seeing for identification. And so we have decided not only to grow organically, but also to join forces with some other great companies. So here in Germany, we have acquired Identity Trust Management. So another big provider of such services in Germany. And recently we have acquired Next, the market leader in France. We're also focusing very strongly on automated identification and have very strong capabilities in AI. And it's really about now joining the forces together to create the leading European player for identity verification.
Okay, yeah, I see. So with that being said, and now that you have maybe, I guess you could say, a broader reach, maybe because of these acquisitions. How do you see this technology evolving in the future?
So number one, this rise of AI is just starting. I mean, the technology now exists, but there are still a lot of countries or use cases where this technology is not yet approved. And of course, what we are quite active in is talking to regulators, showing them what the technology is capable of doing, showing them that it's secure, and then also working with them to get certifications, to be audited, that we can really prove that what we are doing is secure. And by doing that, then convincing the regulators to approve such technology. And this is something that we are clearly seeing is happening in a lot of countries. And this is not only happening in Europe, but also beyond. We have now opened our first office in Dubai. So there's definitely also the same trend happening outside of Europe and in other markets worldwide. What I think is going to be the next trend after AI is going to be so-called wallets or self-sovereign identity. At the moment, if you open a bank account, you have to identify yourself, of course. If you open a second bank account, you would have to do the same process again. And of course, that doesn't really make sense. But this is how the current regulatory environment looks like. At the moment, there are a lot of changes happening and new laws being proposed that would allow to store identities in the future, so that you really only have to identify once. You would store the data securely on your smartphone. And if you have to identify again, you would use that data, provide it to your bank, your insurance company, and by doing that, you can fulfill the identification requirements. And of course, this would be then much faster and even more secure than today's technology. And so we think that this is where the future is heading. And we are also actively shaping that future. So we are part of standardization bodies who are working on defining the standards behind that. Because we are a big believer in open ecosystems and standardization. And we think that it's not one company can achieve that by themselves, but it's really about creating an ecosystem and providing the standardization behind that that enables that ecosystem.
Awesome. Well, Armin, I thank you very much. I think that was a very, very informative. I'm super excited to follow IDNOW, to see how this evolves and really begins to shape what we consider to be our everyday lives. So if in the future, if you want to come back, you're always welcome. Absolutely.
So thank you for the interview, and thank you for the time, Chris. Was great to talk to you.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. Thank you very much. It's very, very exciting stuff that IDNOW is doing. So for the Tech Times viewers, thanks for stopping by and checking out another exclusive. IDNOW is probably, I would imagine, on the brink of really doing some major things in our lives and your life, at home. So stay tuned for the next interview. And of course, if you like this one, please like and share and subscribe to Tech Times so you can get the quickest and most up-to-date tech interviews on the internet. All right, thanks, guys.